And we're live. Welcome in to a late night episode of Betting the Pitch with your host, the real underscore G Warner on Twitter. Go find me. You might be seeing baseball podcasts coming out, trying to get you ready for the season, but we still got a little while left to go in the soccer season, and it's actually turning up in the European leagues and Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference League. We actually have lines for them right now, so it must mean we're pretty deep in the competition. I've got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow, and I figured I'd do this late night to see if maybe some people are still awake, or maybe I get some people on the West Coast that want to see this more than they normally do. And I figured I'd celebrate a big win by North Carolina, considering I have a jersey. Wait, they didn't win? Wow. Worst collapse in college basketball title game history. Oof. Ouch. Anyway, without further ado, let's go to the Champions League because that's where the money is. And the first match that we have on Tuesday, tomorrow, I'm recording this, well, I guess it's today, but late night in the central time zone of the United States. And we have Man City hosting Atletico Madrid, giving a goal and a half. Big number for Man City to lay, especially considering they gave, I think, 2 goals to Burnley on the road, but still one of the worst teams in the Premier League. Gave that to them this weekend, and we're right around the number the whole time. But ultimately, this is a different ballgame here. Atleti, you would think away goals don't matter, but still, a 1-0 loss for them is probably a good result. And Atleti have been playing really well, at least on the results table. They've been winning a lot of matches. I think it's 6 in a row now in La Liga. Whether or not they had to somehow avenge a conceded goal that tied the match against almost anything but relegated Alaves right now, or this past weekend, was not great. But they both got wins. It looks a lot more lopsided than it was. And unfortunately for people like me that like to bet underdogs, the only real choice for me to back here is Atleti, and they have a lot of problems. Scoring goals, an issue. Defending, an issue. Man City will certainly have a lot of opportunities. They have a lot of the ball. Atleti are very likely to pack it in and play a really frustrate you type of soccer or football. And it worked against Manchester United, who are certainly not on the same caliber or level as Man City. But Man City certainly has an eye somewhere else on this weekend's matchup against Liverpool. So that's a pretty big one. It is at home at the Etihad, but still could be some rotation just throughout this match. Maybe someone gets substituted on 60 minutes because you get 5 subs in here. And that you want to keep them ready for Liverpool. Because I do think that Man City's biggest challenge, or their biggest goal, is to win the Premier League for a second straight year. I think winning the Champions League is important to them. And I guess you could argue, so I'm not definitively saying that is the case because I'm not Pep Guardiola, but I think that they focus on the domestic league first because this is still got a ways to go. And if they beat Liverpool this weekend, I think that pretty much seals the title. I mean, it doesn't, but it's a really big step in going in the right direction because I think you get tiebreakers and all that sort of stuff as well. Atleti, on the other hand, have been playing well. They look almost safely in a Champions League spot. Don't think they have any real idea they're going to win La Liga because they're way behind Real Madrid, who just seems to get every penalty possible. And I guess we'll get to that in a little bit. But I feel like they're going to play the defensive football, the Simeone style, which is to try to limit every centimeter of space. I was trying to think of what a European unit of measurement was, but anyway, no one cares about that. And so my big question really is how many goals can Man City score, and can Atleti get 1? I think if Atleti score 1 goal, I think they'll cover 1.5. I don't see Man City getting more than 2. The biggest issue is when does Man City get that first one? The nice part, though, is I think in the first leg, Atleti will be pretty intelligent and will still try to hold it at 1-0 instead of going all out for an equalizer to escape with a 1-1 draw, since away goals don't matter. So that makes me even more interested in Atletico Madrid, even though I really don't like them, want to play against them as a favorite as much as possible. But here as a big underdog, in a tough place to play for sure. But with Man City looking past this matchup, I'm pretty interested in Atleti. So that was pretty long, but I'll keep going. Benfica then hosting Liverpool. Speaking of, big match this weekend. Benfica 1.25 goal underdog at home. So that's been climbing. Maybe a little bit bigger than I was expecting, but it is where it is. Benfica have been the darlings of this competition so far, knocking out Barcelona essentially in the group stage, which was almost unheard of. As I'm about to sneeze, it's going to be great on camera. Excuse me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Liverpool, same story. They're going to be looking over their shoulders. They have a really big matchup this weekend. They want to avenge not winning the Premier League last year in a pretty dismal season. They made this big trek to fight back to get into a position where they could compete for the league, and actually took first place because they played an earlier match last weekend. That's a pretty big step. Benfica, on the other hand, are going to try to frustrate Liverpool as much as possible. Same sort of story here, except they have a ton of crowd support behind them. Liverpool, I'm sure, will have some fans in the building. They traveled really well to Atletico when I went to that match earlier this year in October. But I would expect that Liverpool are going to be also in a rotating mode. I think they're going to use their 5 subs. They're going to do that quickly. I do think their offense is better than Man City's has been recently, and they have a lot more pieces, especially up at the top of the pitch. And that's a problem. But Benfica have done really well about keeping good offenses quiet. Maybe it didn't work against Bayern Munich, but that seems to happen to everybody. And I'm trying my best not to bet against them, but we'll get to that in a second. Wednesday's matches, I do like Benfica here. So I like all the dogs. And I think there's good emotional spots for this, because there's certainly a focus on this weekend's Premier League matches, which it's going to make it hard to win by multiple goals, especially when away goals don't matter for Liverpool. And Benfica are probably in a position where they do see this. So I guess playing devil's advocate, Benfica sees this as their opportunity to win. They don't want to go to Liverpool facing a deficit, and they probably want to go with a lead if they see that's the way that they can advance. But then again, they were in the same, I think, situation against Ajax and got a draw, and then ended up moving on in the second leg. So that could be the same scenario here. I think that, I don't think that Benfica will be on the front foot and will be, I think they'll, instead of being that way, I think they will be pragmatic. They'll be smart. They'll know that the best way for them to get through this is winning 1-0 and then hoping for goalless or to get one goal on the road somehow at Anfield. And that's their way to get through, because I think this competition means a fair amount to them. I don't know exactly how they're doing the Portuguese league because I don't really follow it that closely, but could look it up live, but I don't think there's a need for that. And currently at the 1.25, which is all the juice on Liverpool, and Liverpool and Man City get bet all the time. I would imagine this might even climb a little bit. Maybe 1.5 is realistic, which means you on a single goal loss, you still cover. I think that's a single goal victory for Liverpool would be more than enough on the road in the first leg here for them, that they probably packet it. I mean, they'll still go for those other goals, and maybe Benfica are in a position where they're trying to equalize late, but I think even a 1-0 loss for them at home gives them some hope. They just don't want it to get ugly, and I think that's the way both of the underdogs will play in these Tuesday matches. Moving to Wednesday, Chelsea hosting Real Madrid. Currently, Chelsea a half-a-goal favorite. All the juice on Real Madrid on the road. And there's so much to say about where these teams are playing. Real Madrid with 3 penalties, 2 of the softest ones possible, but La Liga, that's the soft penalties league. Chelsea, on the other hand, coming off I think they took a lead against Brentford and then conceded 4 straight goals to one of the worst offenses in Premier League that I've watched in the last few years. Incredible. Certainly had very little to play for, but put out a lineup that seemed like they cared, besides maybe Reece James, who I think was saved for this one. Chelsea also don't have a lot to play for unless they somehow were in threat of falling out of the Champions League race, but 4, 5, 6 in the EPL are so weak that shouldn't be a realistic scenario, but kind of hilarious how they were leading the Premier League just a few months ago and now are 40 points back or whatever the number is. That's an exaggeration, but you get my point. Real Madrid certainly don't look great. They're an offense that hinges on Karim Benzema, and if he's not around or playing well, they won't do anything. He will be here in this one because he basically played with half a hamstring against PSG somehow. Chelsea is a big favorite here, as half a goal favorite is saying a lot, though Real Madrid have not been great as an underdog on the road against good teams in this competition. Somehow they're still here. PSG should have knocked them out, but whatever, good for them. And I think what you look at here is Chelsea's got a great defense, and Real Madrid's is pretty good because they don't give up a lot of goals. I think, Celta de Vigo's game plan this weekend was to try to clog the middle and really make it tough on Modric and Kroos, who are not the fleetest of foot anymore at their age, but whenever they get out of position to try to really attack them, and that put Celta de Vigo in a great position. Manager seems to be pretty good at what he does. Tuchel is great as well, but I think what Tuchel's great at is really creating a defense that will make it hard for Real Madrid to score. Now, that doesn't put the ball in the net for Chelsea, though, and I don't know who's going to do it for him. Lukaku's never done anything since he came to Chelsea, despite the big price tag. Timo Werner hits this rosette before he hits the goal or the post or whatever. Mason Mount has been injured all season. I mean, Ziyech, I don't know, like Pulisic, like has played so much for the U.S., willing us into the World Cup and has never been a good finisher. I don't know. There's a lot of big questions. There's a lot of questions about Chelsea. They'll probably be angry off of this effort this weekend, but match didn't really matter to them, really. And you could tell by the lineup and really what they were going for in it. So I don't know. Like I came into this wanting to back Chelsea to advance in this, which they are a slight favorite, as I think they should be. But I'm not laying odds on that. I don't trust Chelsea as far as I can throw them. Real Madrid, on the other hand, I think that what they did at PSG, which is really try to be as compact as possible with a much more injured, much less healthy Karim Benzema, went into PSG and basically, if not for a last 4 seconds winner by Kylian Mbappe, they cover that spread and are in a good position to advance. And maybe they don't because PSG would have taken it a little bit more seriously on the road. Whatever, it was taken pretty seriously, and they still got through. Maybe I'm just talking about my own book because I lost on that late goal, and that was absolutely a killer. But from where I sit, Real Madrid getting half of a goal with all the juice right now. Maybe this will fall to a quarter and I'll skip it because I won't want to get involved with a draw only wins me half. But with that said, I do think this is going to be a really tight matchup, and Chelsea's done nothing to make me think that they're good enough to beat Real Madrid at home, and have to do that to like a draw seems very possible, and Real Madrid win does not seem completely impossible either to me as well. The other Wednesday match is Villarreal and Bayern München. Currently, Villarreal a 1-goal underdog at home with all the juice. Lines courtesy of Bet Online. And from where I sit with Villarreal, I don't know. Really, really tough performance this weekend, losing to Levante in a Valencian derby. Haven't been playing well in La Liga, though, so that's nothing new. But they've been great in this competition, and I've been an awesome underdog. I think covering against Atalanta in a knockout game, and then clearly beating Juve, which was to get here, which was impressive. Bayern, on the other hand, can score as much as they want. Villarreal has had a lot of goal-scoring issues without Gerard Moreno in the lineup because he's been injured all season, maybe from playing too many matches or the run to the Europa League final that got them in this competition. They've really clearly done a great job to get to the quarterfinals, considering no one probably really expected that. Based on who they are and what they've done in La Liga. But from where I sit, I'm an underdog player, so I got to decide, is Villarreal the side I want? So they're going to sit back and try to make this as hard on Bayern München as possible. And it worked really well against Manchester United last year and winning the Europa League competition to get into this one. It worked pretty well against Juve, despite falling behind to a first-minute goal in the first leg when Dusan Vlahovic came in and took over, and then they equalized and then ended up advancing the next way. And they kind of did that to Atalanta as well. I think Villarreal in this competition, they have clearly behind Unai Emery, which is not probably the way he wants to play, but he's a magician. He's a genius at playing defensive football. I don't like Villarreal as a favorite really as much, but unless they're playing a really bad team in La Liga. But I do like them as an underdog, and they're going to make it hard on Bayern to score. The problem is Bayern has had a lot of experience playing against low blocks or mid blocks or whatever, something that's blocking them trying to score, because that's what they play in the Bundesliga literally every weekend, unless they're playing Red Bull Leipzig, who really just try to block the middle, Bayer Leverkusen, who just try to score you the whole time, and some others, and I don't need to rattle through all of them. But Bayern have a lot of experience with teams that try to basically break up their offense. Now, Villarreal are a little bit different because they have a little bit more of a counterattacking ability. But I do think that Villarreal see this as trying to keep Bayern off the scoreboard as much as possible is their best way to advance. Maybe they do that by playing all defensive here, though this would be the home matchup, and that would be the leg that they want to win if they're going to try to get through. Though I got to think that Unai Emery is perfectly fine with taking a 50-50 shot in penalties because it worked for him in the Europa League final last year against Manchester United, and probably would not be any demerits thrown his way for that type of thing. Bayern are a 1-10 favorite on odds on to move along. So I don't really feel great about Villarreal getting through. I also feel like if they go to Munich and have to make up or reverse a score line, certainly Bayern Munich has not been perfect this year, and they're not unable to be beaten, but this is going to be tough for Villarreal. So they're going to need to keep this first one really, really quiet. And I think 0-1 at home, a 1-goal loss, that would be a push against the spread. That's probably the lowest I'll go with having interest in Villarreal. If this falls below that, I probably won't get involved. But certainly at +1, would expect Bayern Munich money to come in all the way up till kickoff on Wednesday. So it's possible maybe Villarreal works its way towards my card. I really like all the underdogs here, which is a dangerous thing because I would like to be a little more selective. And might as well, before I move on from Champions League, the two advanced numbers. We have Manchester City as of -450, so Atletico Madrid 325 on a $100 bet to get through. Don't know if I see that. Benfica 8.5 to 1 to get through. Don't really see that, though. I think they can both be really competitive in this first leg. And, we might just have some gambling to do tomorrow. All right, moving along to the Europa League. We have RB Leipzig, who got a bye to this round, hosting Atalanta. Currently, Leipzig, a half-a-goal favorite with all the juice. Atalanta with a really tough loss to Napoli this weekend against not a really strong Napoli side that was missing Osimhen. That's not great. Both these teams want to play on the front foot. Leipzig are going to basically play right through the middle. Tedesco basically took over for what Nagelsmann was doing before. Jesse Marsch tried to change everything and got fired because of it. Americans, Ted Lasso, whatever. Atalanta, on the other hand, they've sold off a lot of their good players. They don't really have a healthy offense. They've been missing Dusan Zapata. I just combined a Serbian with a Colombian, but whatever. Duvan Zapata. And he's not coming back. Muriel hasn't really been the same. He's, I think, the closer of the strikers on that team and has had to start. So that's not been great. As a half-a-goal underdog with all the juice on Leipzig, though, this is probably climbing to 3/4. Leipzig had a pretty tough match with Dortmund this weekend. Atalanta coming off a bad loss, not happy, but has to go and travel to Germany. And this should, I think, for all the Bundesliga, I think they're all 100% capacity. Italy, I think, is the only top European league that isn't at full capacity, though East Germany seems to have some more restrictive rules. Anyway, Atalanta as the underdog here are the one that are of interest to me because that's what I do. Maybe if it climbs to 3/4 of the goal, that's a little bit more interesting to me. I still just don't really believe in their defense and the amount of injuries that they've had, where Leipzig is one of the deepest teams out there. And I think that they're going to show up pretty well in this competition because they're great at bouncing back really quickly. And at home in the first leg is a huge, huge step for them. Atalanta aren't exactly the type to go out and try to really lock you down defensively. They want to win every match under Gasperini, and that's a little bit worrisome for me on the road. The two advanced line, Leipzig is a 125 favorite, so $125 to win 100 on BetOnline. Not really that interested in that, but we'll keep moving. Eintracht Frankfurt, and I guess these are on Thursday, but you might have known that. Frankfurt, a 3/4 goal underdog at home to Barcelona. And the two advanced line is Frankfurt are 350 to move on. So Frankfurt, they're decent, good Bundesliga side, not super strong. At home, they're going to try to do their best to keep Barcelona from scoring. Their manager was a very defensive manager who came over from Wolfsburg last year and didn't start off very well. The offense didn't show up for half the season and then showed up really well. Then they went on the Christmas break, and it's been up and down since then. Good for them to get to this stage in the competition. Got through, I believe, Real Betis, so they are very familiar with the Spanish teams. And now they get Barcelona, who are way better than Betis and are playing really well, and did get through a tough match on Sunday with Sevilla at home that could have gone either way, but they got a late goal, and then Pedri was awesome, and then hung around and hang on to the lead, whatever, and then the clock finally ran out before they screwed it up. Frankfurt, I'm expecting this one. Most of the juices on Barcelona right now. This will probably climb to a full goal of insurance. I'm not sure that's enough for me. I think that Frankfurt are going to try their best. They play a 3-man back line. They did the same with Adi Hütter last year, who moved on to Gladbach. Glasner has basically kept the same thing in place. Hinteregger didn't play this weekend, but he's been horrible, and I hope he doesn't play, but they don't. If they don't use him, then they go to a 38-year-old in Hasebe, who even dealing with Aubameyang, who's a little bit past his prime, Ferran Torres, who hits Rosette like Timo Werner more than almost anybody. That's not great. Don't really love that defensive matchups. They're really going to have to win the midfield. And they do have some good players there, but I'm not sure that they're anywhere near what Barcelona have. So until this gets to 1, I don't think I can even consider it. And even then, I don't even know if that's enough. Certainly, they're going to try to keep this as low scoring as possible and potentially win this leg. Barcelona is a well-oiled machine right now. I don't think that they deserved clearly to be a 1.25 goal favorite at the close to Sevilla at home this weekend. But I mean, if they're giving that much of a number to Sevilla, I mean, who's a really good team that hasn't been playing great, but they're still a really higher quality and I think a better quality than Frankfurt. I don't know. I need big numbers to play against Barcelona right now, and maybe that's a good thing. Moving next to Sporting Braga and Rangers. Currently, Sporting Braga is a 1/4 goal favorite at home. All the juice on Rangers on the road. No surprise because the UK teams always get very, very nice lines. Though I will say that I think this move from Pick'em to this quarter number, and that makes me interested in Rangers. Sporting Braga have never really seemed like they were anywhere close to scoring early in this competition against teams from Serbia and others. Haven't really seen that. So Rangers are of interest to me, especially after knocking out Dortmund. It feels like a little bit more of an obvious side, but they're, I mean, certainly from Scotland versus Portugal. I mean, I would think the Portuguese league is higher rated. So I'm interested in Rangers. We'll see what this number look like and what the lineups look like. And see where this one goes. Of course, if it falls to pick 'em, not much for me to do. But if it stays at a quarter, I'm interested in Rangers. West Ham then hosting Lyon. Currently, West Ham a 1/2 goal favorite with all the juice on Lyon on the road. And I really don't believe in West Ham. Their offense is really not much. They do a great job of scoring at set pieces and keeping games tight unless they lose, and then they seem to lose ugly. But they do a good job also of hacking balls in or bundling balls across the line or finding a way to score that makes me go every time I bet against them. If they do beat me, I just like, how did that happen? Lyon certainly don't have the greatest defense in the world, but they have a great attack and they're going to make it hard for West Ham, especially when West Ham need to win at home with an offense that I don't really believe in. Now, you're certainly taking a risk that Lyon are going to play too aggressively offensively to try to score and win this match. I don't really see Peter Bosch ever nor Lyon. I think he fits their style pretty well, though he hasn't really politically fit very well there this year. From where I sit with Lyon, they can score goals. West Ham, I don't believe they can with regularity. Yes, the Premier League's better than the Ligue 1, but I wouldn't call it a farmers league. I feel like we've seen in competitions like these that teams like Lyon are pretty strong. They have a really great youth setup and all that sort of stuff. And I don't love West Ham. So I'm interested in the 1/2 goal. Don't love that it's all the juice right now and it's potentially falling to a quarter. But even then, I believe in the Lyon offense a lot more than I believe in West Ham's. And I think a road draw is a possibility here. And Lyon could even go in and take the initiative, take the ball, force West Ham to be a counterattacking side. And as an underdog, or excuse me, as a favorite, you don't want to counterattack and be required to win a match when you don't have most of the ball. And I guess I forgot to do the advanced lines because I'm not used to having these. Rangers are minus 175 to advance. So that's pretty expensive for a road underdog right here. And then West Ham are minus 125. So not much on Lyon to advance, though I do think that Lyon are a decent shout to move on in this competition. And last but not least, as we are pretty deep in here, 23 minutes. Okay, so we're on pace. Move to the UEFA Conference League. There we go. Easy for me to say. Usually don't address these on these things because they don't have lines out, but they do here. No two advanced lines because why would they give us nice things like that? But we'll start and we'll probably go through this quick. Feyenoord, a Dutch side. We can quiz myself on where these teams are from versus Slavia Prague. I've been to Prague. Didn't see a match there though. So, and Feyenoord are a 3/4 goal favorite at home. Slavia Prague, not great. Lost a lot of players from the Czech league in general, selling them to West Ham. It's like West Czech United, you could call it. Feyenoord are from a decent Dutch league that are good at soccer. It score a lot of goals. I'm not sure that they're on the same level as PSV nor Ajax, but Feyenoord have been pretty good to be in this competition at this level. And I think that Slavia Prague are going to do their best to try to hang in this one. I think getting 3/4 of a goal is probably fair, but I would want a full goal to consider Slavia Prague, and I'm not sure that I'll get it. Leicester then hosting Eindhoven. Currently, Leicester a half a goal favorite. All the juice on Eindhoven on the road to the point where Leicester are getting odds at a half. So likely falling to a quarter, but we'll see because English loves to bet England. So we'll see about that sort of thing. Eindhoven have been given a ton of respect. Benfica, when they played in the Champions League qualification, like last playoff leg or whatever, they basically sat in their own box the whole time. And that tells me that Eindhoven's offense is strong, and it really put them under pressure. I think it was a 0-0 final that got Benfica into the competition, which then got them to the group stage, which got them all the way here to the quarterfinals. So that says something to me. Leicester are getting healthier. Really important for them to get Fofana back in the middle, and he's been pretty good for them so far. They had a good result at Manchester United this weekend with a 1-1 draw. Deserved better, went ahead, and of course VAR always helping out the big clubs. I guess you could say it was a foul, but whatever. Ended up annulling a goal from James Maddison. Leicester's been playing their best players in this competition. That's how they've gotten here, despite a pretty poor Premier League run. Vardy, I don't think will be available for this one, but he hasn't really been around for a while, so I don't think that's a big deal. I'm interested in the Dutch side because they are the underdog here. I'm not sure that I want to play it at a quarter, but we'll see if it gets to a half. Because I feel like Leicester was pretty fortunate to get through Rennes. Were outplayed, yet won 2-0 in the first leg and then hung on for dear life when they went to France. That doesn't really matter too much here, but I think Eindhoven are not that far off where Leicester have been because their defense has been so poor. The Leicester has certainly got a lot healthier with James Justin coming back, Fofana, as I mentioned, Johnny Evans, a lot of those, which is important. Bodo Glimt, then, who was the big upset winner to get through Celtic. I guess like Scottish team losing doesn't seem like that big a surprise, but I think it was a Norwegian team or Danish team or whatever Bodo Glimt are. They are a half a goal underdog at home to Roma. Roma, who can score goals and have been kind of off the beaten path because they haven't really been in the title race in Serie A, playing like late matches on Sunday. Haven't really seemed to be playing any big ones for a while. I guess they did smash Lazio, if I remember, in the Derby Day Roma, whatever they call it. Anyway, Roma, half a goal favorite on the road. Certainly not a team that I'm that afraid of, but I don't know that I want to back a minnow. And looks like we just lost I thought I was going to get a warning, but there went the Instagram stream, but we're still live on the others. So whatever. Marseille, then I guess I'll leave Roma behind because I got thrown off by that. Anyway, we're live. Marseille then hosting PAOK, P-A-O-K. I believe they're Greek. Marseille, who had come from behind victory after an ugly first goal they allowed to Saint Etienne, but then ridiculous penalty and even more ridiculous own goal. One of the most incredible own goals I've seen in a while because Claude Zajac is just literally out there to kill me every time I bet on Saint Etienne. Anyway, that has little to do with Marseille other than I don't believe that they're as good as sitting second in the French league, but they're there. So whatever. They're 1.25 goal favorite at home to PAOK. I don't think the Greek league is that close, especially considering Marseille would give this number to one of the middle or bottom teams in the French league. So I just don't know that I really what to do with this. I don't know enough about PAOK, so that's probably one I should just avoid. But Marseille is someone that I am looking to fade. I'm not afraid of it. I lost on it this weekend, but I'm looking to do it more. And I think that will wrap up our coverage on this episode of Betting the Pitch. Thank you for watching. We're 90 episodes in. As always, hit me wherever you've watched this on YouTube, on StreamYard. I'm going to try to add some other ones so I'm back on Apple Podcasts so you can listen to it on the subway or wherever the heck you want to. Hit me on Twitter, @thereal_G Warner. And congratulations. Sorry, UNC did not win today. And I really am not happy that Kansas won either. So anyway, hit me on Twitter, @thereal_G Warner. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.